and the government agrees.
He's a dangerous man!
But niggas is decaf, I stick 'em for the cream.
Hey, yo, check this out. This is Flavor Flav. And if you want the whole truth and nothing but the whole truth, so help the whole truth. Hey, yo, you better listen to Dante, baby. Dante!
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? You know, when it comes to the sport of boxing, there are a lot of mythical tough guys in the sport. But when you get down to the whole truth, you always find out the truth is different than what you've been told. And you find out a lot of these tough guys are not the people that you expected to be the tough guys in the sport of boxing. Case in point, Erislandy Lara. You know, when I think of Erislandy Lara in this situation in particular, I think of this big bully in a school that no one is willing to fight. All of a sudden, the guy you least expect, he jumps up and he's willing to fight the guy. Right? This is what I think of when I think of Erislandy Lara. Because you have people like Golovkin, who has been perceived as one of the most feared, right? But yet, Golovkin, he turned down an Erislandy Lara fight. He also turned down an Andre Ward fight. And even when it comes to Golovkin's fans, even they didn't have enough confidence in him fighting against Andre Ward. Because if they really believed in their fighter, Golovkin, they would have welcomed the pound-for-pound number 2, Andre Ward. They would have welcomed a challenge like that with open arms, right? Because at the end of the day, when it comes to Andre Ward, it really doesn't matter where they put him in the top 5, pound-for-pound, or the top 10. Because we all know, because we already know, deep down, regardless if we want to admit it or not, nobody's beating Andre Ward. Nobody's beating him right now. Just like nobody is beating Guillermo Rigo at this point. Okay? So anyway, let's go ahead and get into Erislandy Lara's, at least his new and improved hit list. He's always been calling out fighters, but now he's added Keith Thurman to that list. So if you go ahead and you read the tweets right here, you'll clearly see Erislandy Lara, he's calling out Miguel Cotto, Gennady Golovkin, and now Keith one-time Thurman. Now, see, this is my whole thing when it comes to calling out a fighter. Once again, if you truly believe that the fighter that you support is the best fighter in his division or the best fighter in the world, once you hear that another fighter who is very relevant at the time, who is at the top of his game, once you find out that he's calling out your favorite fighter, you don't make excuses if you believe your fighter can beat him. You don't. Because when Andre Ward was calling out Golovkin, you would have thought the fans would have said, yeah, that's the fight I want to see. You would have thought that's what the Golovkin fans would have said, right? But instead, they said the polar opposite. We don't want to see that fight. We don't want Golovkin to fight Andre Ward. We want Andre Ward to leave Golovkin alone. Matter of fact, can you move to a higher weight class and focus on fighting someone else so you don't have to think about fighting our guy? Can you please do that, Andre Ward? These are what these fans are saying. That's like me telling you guys that I believe that Guillermo Rigo would beat Leo Santa Cruz. I believe he would beat him fairly easy, right? And then all of a sudden, once Leo Santa Cruz starts calling out Guillermo Rigo, now I'm like, you know what, Leo? You should leave Guillermo Rigo alone. Why don't you move up to 126? Why don't you move up to 130 and fight some guys up there? Why do you keep messing with Guillermo Rigo? Right? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make, I would never say that as a fan, you know. I like Guillermo Rigo because he is so dominant. I like him for the same reasons Freddie Roach took a liking to him, because of his skill. So I'm not going to sit there and say something like that once someone calls out Guillermo Rigo. But when someone calls out Golovkin, the fans are not confident in Golovkin's skills. They could type whatever they want, but actions speak louder than words. What you type is the action, which is no. We don't want to see that. No, we don't want to see that fight. Because Andre Ward is way too dangerous. We want to keep Golovkin undefeated, right? Why doesn't Andre Ward move up and fight some bigger guy? Why is he trying to pick on a smaller guy, so on and so forth? Now, this is where the part with Erislandy Lara being actually tougher than a lot of these fighters that are called tough comes in. Because Erislandy Lara is willing to do something that Golovkin is not willing to do. Erislandy Lara is willing to get in the ring with a guy who is bigger than he is at a higher weight class that is considered the best at that division, right? You guys know, even I have said on numerous occasions that Golovkin is the best middleweight in the whole division. He's the best middleweight. And Erislandy Lara is willing to move up and fight him, knowing that Golovkin is going to be the far stronger puncher, have more power, be more durable, etc., etc. We already know this. Lara already knows this, and he's still willing to fight him. So I asked the question, if Erislandy Lara is willing to fight a bigger, stronger, undefeated champion who is the best fighter in his division, why isn't Golovkin willing to do this if he can't get Cotto in the ring? If he can't get Peter Quillen in the ring? Why isn't he willing to fight Andre Ward, who is not only the best fighter in his division, but he is pound for pound top 3, one of the best fighters in the entire world, right? I mean, just because Golovkin fights tough, which, you have to understand something. Golovkin is a great fighter, okay? He's great for the sport, and he's a very strong puncher, etc., etc. He helps the sport grow. But at the same time, he's going in the ring with guys that he's stronger than. And that's not his fault, but I'm just saying he's going in the ring with fighters that he is stronger than. So he enjoys going in the ring fighting these guys. But the one thing he's not willing to do is get in the ring with any and everyone. And it's funny how fans talk about certain fighters like Floyd Mayweather or so on and so forth. Oh, they're scared to lose their O. They're afraid to lose that undefeated record. But the truth of the matter is, it's the fans that are more afraid of their favorite fighters losing that undefeated record more than anyone else, more than the fighters, okay? Why do you think fans don't mind Canelo fighting against James Kirkland, a fighter who has no belt, a fighter who hasn't had a fight in over a year? But yet when the champion in that division calls out Canelo Alvarez, you know what the fans who protect Canelo say? They say Canelo could fight whoever he wants. See, the Canelo fans, they believe that Floyd Mayweather is such a good fighter that Canelo losing to Mayweather, it wasn't even really a loss, because you're expected to lose against the Michael Jordan of the sport, as Canelo Alvarez's trainer called Floyd Mayweather, and Nacho Beristain called him the Michael Jordan of the sport. And actually, I believe Chepo, which is Canelo's trainer, he said that Floyd Mayweather was the best on all planets, something to that sort. And it was Nacho Beristain that compared Floyd Mayweather to Jordan. So the point that I'm making is fans are content to watching Canelo Alvarez face a certain level of opposition just so they can keep Canelo Alvarez relevant in the sport of boxing. But when it comes to Erislandy Lara, he's willing to fight everyone. He's willing to fight the very best. He keeps challenging everyone. He's willing to fight everyone. He called out Keith Thurman as well. I mean, how many people are calling out Keith Thurman? Especially after a spectacular performance over Robert the Ghost Guerrero. Erislandy Lara is the only man that is willing to get in the ring and fight it out. All right? You have all these tough guys that put on a good, tough, fight when they're in the ring. But when they get called out against a guy who may beat them, that's when they turn down the fight. So we need to be giving Erislandy Lara a whole lot of credit right now. And it's not just Erislandy Lara. You also have Demetrius Andrade, another fighter who's willing to lose his undefeated record, calling out the best fighters in his division. So I think we need to really reevaluate this quote-unquote tough guy with all the balls and all that kind of talk. Because it's the guy who's willing to get in the ring and call out the best fighters. Not the guy who's looking for a challenge and then soon as a couple guys raise their hands and say, oh, I hear you having a hard time finding someone to fight you. Well, you know what? I'll fight you. And then that guy says, no, you know what? I think I'm going to pass on you and you. And I'm going to just, wait for this guy in particular. If no one is willing to fight Golovkin, at least the fighter that Golovkin wants to face, which is Miguel Cotto or Canelo Alvarez, if they're not willing to get in the ring, Peter Quillin, which Peter Quillin doesn't seem like he has an interest, at least not at this point, to get in the ring with Golovkin. If none of those fighters are willing to get in the ring with Golovkin, then he has to make moves. And those moves is fighting against someone who is relevant, someone like Erislandy Lara or like Andre Ward. Okay? If Gigi was to go in there and just, obliterate, knock out Lara, that would be a statement. Same thing with Andre Ward. But until he gets in the ring with these guys, you have to question if his team believes they have the confidence to beat these fighters. Now, when it comes to Keith one-time Thurman, I would love to see Lara versus Thurman as well. But I don't know if Thurman is ready to move up to a higher weight class. Now, we already know that Golovkin, he has already said, I'm willing to move up to 168 and fight Chavez and fight Carl Froch. But then he said he didn't want to fight Andre Ward. Okay? Not only that, but I talked to Golovkin's coach and trainer, Abel Sanchez. He said that this man spars with cruiserweights. So he would have no problem moving up to 168. I mean, the whole thing is, if we are being honest with ourselves right now, we know that if Golovkin can't get Cotto, he can't get Quillin, he can't get Canelo in the ring, I'm sure we all agree that we would rather see Golovkin fight against Erislandy Lara or Andre Ward as opposed to seeing him fight Martin Murray or Adama, right? And once again, I know you fans like to say he shouldn't fight Erislandy Lara, but if he did, he would beat Lara up so easy it wouldn't even be a fight, so on and so forth. Once again, you make it sound like you have no confidence in your favorite fighter. Because if you know he can do something, why wouldn't you want him to fight Lara? That's like you knowing that Golovkin would knock out Adama. You knew that he was going to knock out Adama, but you didn't say, I don't want to see that fight. Oh, but he would have knocked out Adama if he had to. If he had to fight him, he would have beat him easy. It wouldn't have been a fight. No, you didn't say that. Because you were happy that Adama was the opponent. Therefore, that secures that unbeaten record. Right? That's all I got. I'm on to the next one.